Next up. Oh, sorry. This isn't that Alien Earth wasn't the only TV series. Oh, I should have done this after. Never mind, never mind. Looking forward to this one because I like these little short story things, and the other couple series that came before this one I really enjoyed. So I was like, let's see what the third one brings. And the third one is Star Wars Tales from the Underworld. Sorry, Tales of the Underworld. So if you're not familiar with these Tales series from Star Wars, they're animated shows. They all have 6 episodes each, and basically it's 3 episodes with each 3 focusing on a different character. Usually a character that you know well from the Star Wars universe, especially it's been a lot of Clone Wars era stuff, which I really like. In this particular series, the first 3 episodes are about Asajj Ventress, who was introduced in the Star Wars Clone Wars series, which I think is the best Star Wars TV series of them all. That show was the first of the Star Wars series and the first animated one, and it was fucking awesome. So basically, when Asajj Ventress's 3 episodes kick off, we see Obi-Wan Kenobi and another Jedi named Quinlan Vos, who I don't think you ever see in the movies, but he's in a handful of books. We see Quinlan carrying Ventress's dead body with Obi-Wan beside him, and he puts it in this body of water on Dathomir, which is the Night Sisters' home planet, and says goodbye, Asajj, like, I'll always love you, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And then we see Mother Talzin, one of the Night Sisters, like main witch, whatever you want to call her, like a powerful witch of the Night Sisters, kind of give Asajj Ventress's spirit a choice. She said, you can stay dead or you can go back to the land of the living, but there will be a price to be paid. And well, Asajj is like, well, what's the price? And she's like, that which you want most won't be available to you. So basically no Quinlan Vos if you go back to the land of the living. So she chooses to live and ends up getting a job as, like, she just chills out. She's no longer dark side Count Dooku's assassin. Well, Count Dooku's dead, but she's chill. She gets a job as a security guard, and during this job she sees a little boy try to use a Jedi mind trick on somebody, and she's like, whoa, don't be doing that. Like, you could get in trouble. Like, your kind are kind of endangered right now, right? So she kind of takes him under her wing, but he doesn't quite trust her, and rightly so. She's a former Sith, whatever. But the two end up striking up a friendship, and he's trying to get to the Path, which is a rumored way of Jedi getting to safety and getting to a safe place. So that becomes their mission over the next 2 episodes, and the rest of this first episode is finding the Path to get this kid to safety. His name is Laika. I can't remember his name, but so that's basically the next 2 episodes, like them trying to figure out, how do we find, where do you get to the Path? And obviously they run into other characters. Some of them are shady, try to double cross them and make their own profits on them, especially once they learn this kid's a Jedi. And eventually they do find the Path. And once they do find the Path, though, before the final location is revealed to them, they need to help some other people with a task they need accomplished. So typical Star Wars shit, you know. But eventually Asajj gets this kid to the Path and to safety. The second, I love Asajj Ventress. She was a great character, but I really like the second character's story better. It's Cad Bane. So if you don't know Cad Bane, he is a Duros bounty hunter that I believe was also introduced in the Clone Wars series, if I remember correctly. I don't think I saw him before that. And the first episode goes back in time a bit from where the other 2 episodes take place. It's 2 Duros, Colby, I think his name is, or something like that, and Nero. And they're just kids. They're kind of street kids, and they're getting into trouble and whatever. And they're always scrounging for food and for credits and stuff like that. And then this shady guy offers them a job for more credits. And so they do it, but Nero gets captured in the process, and Colby, is it Colby? Fuck, I can't remember. It's something like, I may be wrong about his name. I can't remember. Whereas Colby gets out of it and escapes. and eventually turns into a life of crime as he gets older. And so it eventually resumes in the second episode once they're both older. And Colby, who is actually Cad, is older and he's involved with a gang. And his gang's leader, Laszlo, goes out on a mission in a ship. And later on, Laszlo doesn't let Cad come with him. He tells Cad's girlfriend, Erin, like, keep an eye on him. Don't let him come with me. Just help him chill. So a little while later, Laszlo's ship is coming back, but it crash lands. And when Cad checks it out, the pilot's like, no, they killed Laszlo. And Laszlo was killed in Cad's old neighborhood where him and Nero grew up. So Cad goes back there and ferrets out what happened. Oh, the marshal killed him. Okay, well, I'm going to get the marshal. So Cad goes looking for the marshal, runs into Nero, who is now a deputy to the marshal. And Nero's like, Cad, you're not going to get the marshal. Just leave. Just go. And Cad obviously isn't having any of that. So in the end, a confrontation happens. Cad gets arrested. But in the third episode, Cad gets out. He's released on a technicality. And he's coming back for vengeance. And he ends up killing Nero, or having his assassins do it. And orphaning Nero's adopted kid, Isaac. And then Cad walks away afterwards. Like, yeah, no problem. The childless, or a fatherless child. And yeah, Cad Bane. He's a ruthless motherfucker. I love him. But yeah, you don't get on the wrong side of Cad Bane. So that's what these people learned the hard way. So really cool 6 episodes. I love the 2 characters they featured, both on the dark side of things. You know, I mean, it is Tales of the Underworld, so you expect more of a dark theme to it. But those are 2 very key characters from the Clone Wars. I found, and I love to see. You know, we saw a lot of Asajj Ventress in that series, so we knew a fair amount about her. But I love when they flesh out more of these characters, right? And you get to see a little more what's behind them, sort of thing. So I don't know if they're doing a 4th series and what it might be, but I hope they do, because all 3 series so far I've enjoyed, and yeah, I gobble up the Star Wars content, as you know, except for the Acolyte, because I heard it's a big giant woke piece of shit, and I will not support that nonsense. Last up, 2 games. First up on the PS4, Destroy All Humans 2, Reprobed. So this was from, oh yeah, so the book, The Ogre's Pact, was from 1994, and Tales from the Underworld was from 2025, earlier in the year. This game was from 2022, I believe, but it was a redo of a game that was originally released in 2006. So redo of an older game. And so it's, I think they said it was like the 6th or 7th game in the Destroy All Humans series, but it's Destroy All Humans 2. So it's the second one, I guess, in the main series. I don't know. But it's a redo of the 2006 game with a bunch of added shit. You control a clone of the original game's main character, who was Cryptosporidium 137. In this game, you are Cryptosporidium 138, and you are masquerading as the President of the United States and controlling events through that. And but the Soviets, the KGB, and it takes place in the year 1969, end up getting the drop on you, destroying your mothership, killing Pox, your kind of guide through this. But he managed to come back. His consciousness comes back in holographic form and guides you through the mission. So you basically you start off in Bay City, which is San Francisco, basically, and you're trying to get to the bottom of what happened. So you eventually find out that the KGB is behind this, and so then you move to London, England, called Albion in the game, where you meet a guy named Ponsonby, who is like a James Bond type character who kind of guides you through that area, but he ends up being an enemy instead, so you have to kill him. And with each area you go to, you uncover more of the plot. After that, you go to Takoshima, which is basically Japan, and get more intel there. So there's 5 zones. After Albion, which is, after Takushima, which is Tokyo, you go to Tunguska, which I assume is like Siberia in Russia somewhere. And then eventually you end up on Solaris, which is the moon. So basically the plot Crypto uncovers after gaining an ally named Natalia Ivanova, who is a Russian spy, is that a KGB or Russian high-up guy named Malenkov has been using these spores, these alien spores, to turn humans into these kind of grotesque, like Godzilla-like creatures that Crypto ends up have to fighting as he moves along in the game. But the main plot is that Malenkov is in league with an alien race called the Blisk, who have been on Earth since, I think, they crash landed in Russia in 1906 or 1908 or some shit like that. And he's working with them to basically take over the Earth from his moon base on Solaris. And so Crypto eventually discovers all this and destroys the Blisk mothership in Russia, but eventually has to finish things off on the moon base where he has to have like a final fight with Malenkov, as well as eradicate all the alien Blisk aliens that are still there, sort of thing. So basically Crypto, and being an alien on Earth and wanting to destroy all the humans, becomes the hero of this story when he saves the Earth from this competing alien race in this Russian dictator, right? So really cool game. This game had so much humor in it and so much like Crypto falls for this Natalia, Russian spy, who is like a banging chick with these huge tits, a sweet ass, and blonde hair. And so there's so much sexual innuendo in the game, and so much hilarity, and so much ridiculousness. A lot of parody. A lot of the characters are parodies of other characters from other series, and just a lot of general ridiculousness throughout the game. And as you go through the game, you complete the main story missions, but there's so many side missions and challenges that you can do. And it's worthwhile to do it because when you complete these challenges, you get these rewards that help you unlock weapons for both Crypto, but also his flying saucer, which helps get you around your areas quicker, and which also gets you more firepower on certain challenges and story elements. So you definitely do want to explore the game in full and do all the missions and try and level yourself up as much as possible, because it really helps later in the game when you get to those last 2 worlds where you have to do some really big fights to get through those with let's say the least amount of frustration. There are some hard fights in this game, especially near the end. But really glad I picked up the game. It was I picked up like 4 PS4 games not long before I finally moved out after separating from my wife, just in case I moved here and I was on money was tight being on my own, and I wanted to at least have a little stack of games to play. Turns out money is tight, but it's not as tight as I thought it was. So I was able to, as you see, always be bringing in some new games here and there. But these final PS4 games were something I was really looking forward to playing. So I'm glad Destroy All Humans 2 really was even better than I thought it was going to be. The other of the games that I bought on that last stack was the Rainbow Six game that I'm currently still playing. Love that game. The game I'm going to mention right now, which I wasn't so happy with, and then I got one more to go that I haven't started playing yet. So let's get on to this other game that I'm not so happy with. It is Battlefield 2042, released in 2021, I believe it was. I've heard so much about the Battlefield franchise that I was like, I saw this and I'm like, okay, I'll take a chance on it. This game sucked. This game sucked so much balls that I'm not even sure what kind of analogy to use with sucking so much balls. But it's the story of the game is that it's the year 2042 and war has arrived. Environmental concerns causing rising sea levels, collapsing economies around the world, satellites falling out of the sky causing worldwide blackouts, tensions are high. War has broken out, especially between the US and Russia. So that's the story. You go into these battlefields with your soldier and attempt to defeat the other team. There's different modes. There's like conquest. But if you've ever played Star Wars Battlefront, it's very similar to that, only Star Wars Battlefront is fucking awesome, and this game sucks shit. So there's multiple different modes, but the main one, Conquest, is just like Star Wars Battlefront. So you pick your side. Well, actually, in this game, you don't even really get to pick your side, but you are assigned to a side, either the US or Russia, and you each have an equal amount of soldiers going in, and you basically have to enter the map, capture objectives, little regions that become yours if you have your presence there and defend it, and continue to march through the map, turn these territories to your color and occupy them, and keep the enemy from coming in and occupying them themselves. And you're fighting the whole time, and it's a battle of attrition. The whole goal is to eradicate all their soldiers before you're eradicated, and that's how your side wins, right? There's some variations to it. There's also one called Breakthrough, where the defending team has unlimited amounts of soldiers, and the attacking team that's trying to march and gain all the territories has a limited amount. So basically, one's defending against the attackers who are limited, and that's really hard to be the attacker in that mode. It's tricky. And then a couple of other ones, a hazard zone, where you have to go around and collect these data cores and then extract with them while the enemy forces harry you. And team deathmatch, I can't remember exactly what that one was. That one wasn't bad, but I just did not like the game. Later, upon researching this game, I learned that this was, at least as far as it's said, I don't know if it's true, but the only Battlefield game so far to be released without a single player like story mode. So the only modes in this game is an online multiplayer mode where you're playing with all these people around the world. And I don't like those kinds of games, because there's people out there that just play these games relentlessly and just can fucking end you. Like, I'll get killed and then I'll be like, okay, redeploy here. I'm going to run out and go find something to hide. I'm dead. Like, I did not see anybody. I have no, like, it's just so frustrating because you never even get in the game. You know, you're just running until you can find somebody to kill, and then you're already dead before you can even find somebody, right? And there were many things about this game I didn't like. I found it was very hard to find your enemies in this game. They weren't ever really put on your map, so you, like on Star Wars Battlefront, you can see everybody on the map. Like, you know exactly where the enemy is, which I think is the better way to go, because it's like, okay, they're there, I'm going to go there, I'm going to get into the action, I'm going to have some fun. Even if I die, I'm going to redeploy, I'm going to go back there, I'm going to find them. This one, you're just wandering around, can't fucking find anybody. Oh, I'm dead again, right? It was so frustrating. And then even when you do sometimes find somebody, sometimes it takes you a while to find them, because they blend into the background so easily that it's like, is that somebody? Oh shit, they just shot me, I'm dead, like before you could even see them. And then I also found that the player indicators aren't good either, where it's like, sometimes I would come up to a guy and I'm like, it's not like in Battlefront, it's like the clone troopers or the stormtroopers are all wearing white. You're a rebel, you're wearing fucking camo or an orange fucking pilot suit. Like, it's very obvious which people you should be shooting at in Star Wars Battlefront. Whereas this, you all look the same. It's like, I'm like, oh, I got my sights on somebody. Wait a minute, is that one of my guys? Oh, fuck, they just shot me, I'm dead, right? This game, I played 2 sessions on this game, maybe 3 hours total, give or take. And I was like, nope, I'm done. Like, it just fucking sucked. It sucked. Now, if I'm not even sure if I would pay money for another Battlefield game, to be quite honest. But if somebody were to give me one of the other games out of this franchise, or I found it in the bargain bin for like $4, I would try one of the other ones at a very reasonable price, if it did indeed have the single player story mode, where you're not competing against a bunch of fucking nerds from around the world that this is all they do in their life and they're so fucking good at it that you don't have a chance in hell, right? If I did find a game that had like the single player story mode, I might be convinced to give this series another chance, but from what I saw out of this game individually, never again. Never again if I can avoid it. So take that for what it's worth. I didn't play the game all that much, but I will give, and you may know this by now if you've watched my reviews, but all the games I review, I play to death. I get my value out of them. I try every mode. I try to get all the trophies that I can. I'm very much a person who always gets the value out of the things I buy. My cars, I drive until they can't drive no more. My games, I play until I can't explore them anymore. My books, I read. Some of them I read again. That's just my nature. So to get a game that I'm done after 2 sessions, I had to be very, very displeased with it and saw no value in proceeding with it any further, right? So just for what it's worth, I know these online multiplayer games, people love them these days, but growing up in the 80s, there was nothing better than sitting on a couch with a buddy on the NES playing fucking Jackal, Contra, playing with somebody right beside you that you can fucking laugh, share, that to me is multiplayer gaming, not this faceless, nameless, you could be in Timbuktu and I don't know who you are, but you just killed me for the fucking 10th time in the last 2 minutes, right? I'm not into that shit. Splatoon wasn't bad. Rocket League I enjoyed, but any of these types of games, online multiplayer, count me out. So take that for what it's worth. I'm kind of old school that way, but hey, maybe you are too. Anyways, that's all for now. I will be back soon enough because, like I said, second book in that fucking Ogre series. I'm almost done that. I got some other games that are close to being done, and even some TV series that are on the go that might be done soon. So, yeah, I'll be back. I'm always back. Peace.
Meow.